Zordon, I'm on my way. Hey guys, Green Ranger 1701 back here with another cosplay review. First, I want to talk a little bit about how grateful I am for all the support I've received on my channel so far. The amount of views might be tiny in some of the bigger time players in YouTube, but I'm going to say how grateful I am for what I've gotten so far. I've already gotten almost 300 views on my recent Green Arrow review cosplay for Sim as well, and then of course my White Ranger and a couple other things that I've done. So thank you so much for coming. Thank you for watching the videos. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. And by the way, if you haven't yet, if you're new here, please subscribe to the channel. Please even like the video. It helps it greatly. If you're not new here and you've watched the videos before, please consider subscribing to the channel. As I grow this channel more, I intend to get more cosplay more often. Right now, you can expect it to be about a monthly thing. I am still a pretty new daddy and work a full-time job, so I keep pretty busy at this point. But I am very grateful for everything that you guys have been doing for the channel, all the engagement. It's been amazing knowing that people care about this particular passion that I have. So it's really cool to be able to talk to you guys. Once again, all these cosplays are also brought to you by SimCosplay. This is what I'm currently reviewing for. I hope that as my channel grows again, that I might be able to expand into other companies and be able to review for them. This is just something that I love to do. It's super fun. So today, what we're doing is we're going to finish up the review on the recent unboxing from Thor Dark World. This is one of, I believe, 5 different Thor costumes that are on their website. There's Avengers Age of Ultron, Infinity War, Endgame, and Ragnarok, along with this one. However, this one I chose because it was my favorite out of the films. I wish they had the first movie, because that still tops out as my favorite Thor costume ever, easily. So this one today is, again, from Dark World, and I'll start off by saying it's very, very screen accurate. There's a lot of pieces to this cosplay, probably 11, maybe 12, between the boots, a lot of the guards from the front and the back, the chest plate, the wrist covers, the gauntlets on the arms. There's a piece in between the cape here and the chest piece. Of course, there's the shirt and the pants. So quickly, we will talk a little bit about the size. I'm not sure if they got my measurements right this time. The kneecap, there's a little particular spot on the knees that shows it's supposed to be on the kneecap, is actually below my knees fully. So where my kneecap ends at the bottom is where that piece starts. And I did notice that the pants are a little long. So obviously, these things happen sometimes. This is the first time it's happened to me. Sim has always been excellent at getting my measurements down properly. And recently they haven't changed too much, so not sure what happened there. And of course, in this shirt, it's extremely snug. And that's what makes me think that maybe there's some measurements there also that are issues. It's very elastic. So when I put on this shirt, it's long sleeve. The sleeves in particular are very elastic. They're very thick. It kind of feels like an armor as much as it looks like one. I had to put my hands through first, which took a few seconds. It's very tight. And then I had to pull it over my head and pretty much unravel it down my chest to get it over. And once you get it on, it feels really nice. It's a good material. It's not itchy. It doesn't make you feel uncomfortable. I find it to be just right in terms of how it feels when you're wearing it. I will tell you, you're gonna get very warm in this cosplay. You can probably maybe see me sweating just a little bit now, just because this is a decent weight. The chest armor, of course, the shirt underneath, and then there's the cape on the back, and a lot of different things. So the major pet peeve overall for this cosplay is the Velcro. And what I'm talking about is what you have here on the gauntlets. There's a lot of space between my forearm and the end of this. And there is a lot of Velcro here, but they really didn't kind of create this for a one-size-fits-all. The Velcro does end way back here, which is only about an inch off the actual cuff, and it leaves all this space where it could really be tightened if you just added more. I have bought more Velcro myself and have not added it yet. That's something I intend to try. So again, this is something fixable, but you don't want these things happening. This is babysitting your cosplay, which is not something anybody wants to do when they're trying to enjoy an event. I certainly don't, and this is why it's my biggest pet peeve. they are probably aiming for a one-size-fits-all where it pertains to the armor, and I get that, but add more Velcro and it can be a one-size-fits-all. So one major thing there, definitely the Velcro. And it kind of goes the same here with the chest armor. There are some straps on the side. There's a dual buckle. You run it through the top and then back out, and you kind of tighten it almost like a over-the-shoulder messenger bag or maybe a backpack, something like that, where you just tighten to get it to go to you nice and snug. There's a lot of space left here. And again, they're probably looking for the one size fits most, one size fits all. I just prefer it snug, and I don't know if this is just a standardized thing where there's no variation in size. The only measurements you really do are perhaps in the pants and the shirt. So when I stand straight, you can see that this runs diagonal off my chest. I have to consistently do this to get it to set down, and I'm not very fond of that either, and that's where the preference of snug comes in for me. And I don't know how you feel about it, but I really don't prefer this angled out, because especially if you're looking sideways, that's very noticeable. Now, it's detailed, and that's great, because that's what drew me to this cosplay in the first place, was how detailed it was. And if we take a look at the cape here, it has a bit of a broad shoulder, and that's because there's a plastic piece in between that kind of gives the arch over, that gives the movie accurate look to the cape. This is something else that drew me to it. It's very simple. This is a velvet cape. This is a word that I could not for the life of me get to come out of my mouth on the initial unboxing video. It's a little wrinkled, but overall I think it does well. That's something that could be solved by an iron, obviously. But this just buttons, which is pretty convenient. Now all the representations of the realms, which are all the circles here, are just foam, but from a distance, you really can't tell. These have Velcro, and they really, as you can see, that's a very thin thing. Not really much for adjustment if you really want to kind of try to make it more snug. So you pretty much leave it where it is, and there's all that space in between, which I don't really care for. I mean, you can move it a little bit, and you can tell that it doesn't really sit too fit. So that's a little unfortunate. So I would have to give that a lower grade on the levels if I had to, about where I think the armor could be better. I think that they maybe should, for paying that kind of money, I think you really should kind of pay more attention to giving them that as well. You know, giving them that that kind of fit as you would where you would with pants or where you would with a shirt. So again, you also have the wrist covers, which thankfully bulked this up a little bit, even for all this additional space in the Velcro. You know, this sits nicely. This is also Velcro. There's a little bit more to work with where you tighten this up, but not too much. So just, it's really hard to say. I mean, I don't really want to, I don't want to knock it too hard, because it's really, you know, I'm not the one who makes it, so it's kind of hard to come from that perspective and say, hey, this is dumb, this doesn't fit right, because as many pieces there are, this is not just like throwing on a one-piece suit and saying, oh, you got my measurements right. There is a lot to this. So I'll give them a little leeway there. Could it have been done better? Probably. So you can only see a little bit of this, but these are the leg protectors. These have four Velcro pieces. There's one directly behind the Achilles tendon, there's one about midway up the calf, there's one directly on the thickest part of your calf, and then there's one just behind where your knee bends. And about the only one that fits right is the one directly behind the calf. And don't ask me why, I couldn't tell you, but it's the only one that gets a snug fit and really actually holds it in place. So this does prevent you from actually really bending too much. This also comes in play with the midsection due to this hanging armor here. There's also some in the back. Some in the back here that's also very firm, so you can't really bend over too much. This is about as far as I get before the cosplay comes up to my neck and starts getting more uncomfortable. Of course, this starts squishing in and kind of represents, you know, the not so snug. So, of course, it's also pushing into the bottom piece here that I'm wearing over the waist area. So as for the boots, very easy, very simple. These aren't something you're going to see because of the shin protectors, the kind of the boot covers that go from your knee all the way down to the top of your foot. But they just zip up in the back, all the way up to the back of your calf, pretty much to the beginning of your knee. So I like that because that's simple. Complicated boots are difficult sometimes in the sense of, undoing them and doing them and getting them as tight as you want. One day I'll remember if I ever changed my shoe size or whatnot. These ones are a little more flat, far less sole than any pair of boots that I purchased from SimCosplay before. In some ways that's more comfortable because you're not having too much of that arch, but you're also having less protection between your feet and the concrete. So I don't know if you'd want to be around on the floor, on a concrete floor, or even anything hard surface for a long period of time. I think it would begin to be really painful. I mean, right now I've been wearing these for about 40 minutes as I got ready, and I'm already starting to kind of feel it in the front pads of my foot as well as my heels. So, running around for hours as a cosplay, that's something that really needs to be considered. So overall, I think you get your money's worth. They're asking $309 on it, and of course, if you use my Green Ranger 1701 personal code, you'll get 7% off your entire order, which helps make it a little bit more worth it. That's just a cheap plug there. So, screen accurate. I love the cape. I think that's one of the things that drew me to it the most. It's perfect length. It barely comes to the floor, and I thought that was great because my Kylo Ren cosplay that I ordered last year, that one drug the floor, and my wife and I had to pin it up a little bit to get it to stop doing that, and we had to walk distances from each other to make sure she didn't rip it off my shoulders. So glad to see that worked out the way it did. This is I wouldn't say this is their best work, but I would say that it's worth what you pay for it. It's screen accurate. It's comfortable. Yes, it's hot, but it looks great. All the photo shoots that I've done with it so far have gotten a lot of great reactions, a lot of compliments. It's also gotten some other reviews, which I've taken into account and revealed here, because I think that's important. I definitely want to be straight and honest about what I see in this cosplay, because that's how you guys are going to know any better if I'm not telling you where these pros and cons are. So let me know what you think of this. Have you bought it yourself? Do you have any additional questions about this particular cosplay? Let me know in the comments below. And of course, if you have any future suggestions, check out SimCosplay's website, look at some, and tell me some that you'd like me to try out or maybe to review, and we could put them on the ongoing list that I have. It's quite large at this point. Very grateful for your guys' support, grateful for all the reviews and all the support that I get, comments and likes and subscriptions. This channel's small, but it's growing, and this is something that I would like to, down the road, do full time, and I can't do that without your support. So thank you so very much for being here today, for coming and seeing me prattle on about this latest review. I hope to see you on the next video, and we'll check you later.
Dragon Thor!